Okie dokie. Angel. Woo! Angel Hogan. To the microphone. Hi, I'm Angel. I grew up on a 17-acre farm where my father raised and bred quarter horses. I love everything about a horse. I love the way that their skin feels after a run. I love their coarse manes and the way that their whiskers feel on your palm when you're taking some sweet feed from your hand. I rode my first horse when I was 4, and I had a cranky old man of a pony named Freeloader for most of my life. I've cared for horses for most of my life. I've seen them born, I've seen them mate, I've seen them die. I've walked with my father from the house to the barn in the bitter middle of winter, carrying icy buckets from the house to the barn when the barn pipes froze so the horses would have enough to drink. I've been bitten in the face by a jealous colt, kicked by mares, and chased by studs. I love horses. I moved to the city with my mom in my late teens, and I had to figure out how to negotiate my way through this new world, and it was hard, and I missed the farm, and I missed horses, but I liked the new experience, and I liked the city. I grew to love Philadelphia. About 2 years after I moved here, my horse prayers were answered in the call of a job. My good friend Gil had gotten a job at the zoo as the camel caretaker, and he found out that they needed a horse keeper for the 3 or 4 horses in the stables. At the height of our farm, we had about 30 to 35 horses, so 4 I thought I could handle. Gil told the zookeeper about his good friend me, who grew up on a farm, and the zookeeper was amazed and stunned at his good luck, and called my house immediately and spoke it a long time with my mother, who told him more about our farm and our business. And he coaxed my work number out of her. And at the time I worked in a mind-numbingly boring job in a snack shop as a cashier. And I was chomping at the bit for a new job. So he called me at work, and we talked for a long time. He apologized for calling me at work, and he was impressed with my experience and urged me to come down the next day to talk to him about my new position at the zoo, and I was excited. I went the next morning, as he instructed, to the back entrance where the guard was waiting for Angel Hogan to arrive, the new horse caretaker. And I got there and I tapped on the glass, and he looked at me and asked what I wanted. I said I had an appointment with the horse keeper, that my name was Angel Hogan. And he said, "You're Angel Hogan?" And I said, "Yes." And he looked at me like I had popped up from the ground like a mushroom. He said, "Angel, really?" I said, "Yes." And I said, "Do you want to see my CCP ID?" He said, "That's okay." He ushered me to the next stop, which was close to where my friend Gil was working, taking care of the camels. He was disgusted. He came over, he was disgusted that day. He said they spit, they smelled, he hated them, he hated his job, but we took solace in the fact that we'd be working together soon. He walked away, and a woman walked up and stood next to me for some time, and I asked her if she was looking for Angel, and she said yes. And then looked right past me as though I was going to say, "Angel just left." And I said, "Hi, I'm Angel." And she didn't say anything. It looked like she was about to ask me if I was sure that I was Angel. And I said, I asked her if we could go to the stable, if I could meet the keeper. And we walked in silence to the stable. She walked over to where he was standing. They talked for some time and looked at me while I sat on the bench. And finally he walked over. And I stood up, enthusiastic, beaming, and shook his hand. I said, "It's so good to meet you, but I feel like I know you because we talked on the phone so long." And he talked to my mom, and then my mom and I had talked that night. We were all excited. And with a very dull look in his eyes and a very bland face, he told me that they had reconsidered. They weren't sure that they needed a horse caretaker, and they weren't sure about the position. And he thanked me for coming down, and he let me know if anything changed. And I suddenly realized what was going on, and I had to keep from crying. They weren't expecting a brown girl to show up. Instead of crying, I asked if I could see the horses, and he was sort of annoyed. He was like, "All right," and I went up to one of the stalls, and I went inside, and for the first time in a long time, I looked at the beautiful creature that I loved for so long, and I rested my head against the mare's neck, and I walked outside, and I told him that her hooves needed to be trimmed and cleaned, and then I went back to my job as a cashier at the snack shop. I'll let you guys decide who's the chump and who's the champ in that story.